Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with allthingsbbq.com, and this is barbecue chicken grilled pizza. Today we're going to be putting together a pizza from scratch, cooked on the pellet grill, although you could cook this on just about any grill. Now this is a little bit of a unique process, the way we're going to cook our pizza today. We're still using our tried and true pizza dough, which I love. It's very simple, but it's very delicious. But instead of cooking it, say, on a stone or in an oven, we're actually going to cook it directly on the grates raw, and then build our pizza, return it to the oven, and melt down all the cheese and warm up the ingredients. So let's jump in by making that dough. So our pizza dough has just 4 ingredients, really simple. But we're going to start with the warm water. So you want your water at about 110 degrees. We're at 112. It's not going to cause any damage. So we're going to go in with our water. We're going to make a batch that's big enough for 4 good-sized pizzas. So we need 650 grams of water. Then we're going to add 10 grams of dry active yeast right to the surface of the water, and immediately it's going to start to activate that yeast. Next, we've got 1 kilo of our double-lot pizza flour. It's a great gluten protein content in here that allows us to stretch nice thin pizzas. And then right on top of the flour, we'll come in with 20 grams of kosher salt. All right, so put the bowl on the stand mixer, the KitchenAid. We've got the dough hook attachment. We're going to start off on a low, medium-low speed. And this speed will carry us right through to the end, actually. But we're going to wait until this thing comes together into a ball and starts pulling away from the sides. And there it is. When it gets to that point right there, we're going to set our timer for 8 minutes. All right, there it is, 8 minutes. We've let that mix up, clearing the side of the bowls. We've developed some gluten. We're going to get that off the hook here and transfer this over to our Cambro. Now you can absolutely use just an oiled bowl as well. I just like these containers because it's really easy to tell when they've doubled in size. So again, I'm going to put some fat down to keep this from sticking. We've got some duck fat in there. And then the easiest way to keep this dough from sticking to you is to work with wet hands all at once. We'll throw the lid right on top. Doesn't have to be perfectly sealed. So this will start to spread out and then start to rise. Now, how long it takes for your dough to double in size is totally going to depend on how warm the room is. A lot of times I'll put this kind of up above the range where there's a little bit of extra heat. It's a little bit above room temperature, and typically find that in an hour to an hour and a half it's doubled in size. All right guys, well the dough has doubled in size now, so we're going to take it out of the container and divide it into our dough balls. So you can see here we've gone from that 2-quart to 4-quart measurement on here. Right around there is going to be the double mark. That's about where we started. So we're going to turn this out onto a floured surface now. Just going to gently remove this from the container. Kind of keep it in that square shape, then we can keep an idea of our equal portions here. So I'm just going to take my bench knife and we'll divide this into 4. So this dough should be really soft and spongy right now. We're going to work that gluten a little bit more as we form it into a dough ball. And we're going to do that just by kind of tucking the dough underneath into the center as we roll this around. And then if you get it onto a work surface, you can tighten it up just a little bit by rolling it. And get a nice smooth surface on the top there. So even dough ball, tighten it up. And then we're going to transfer these to an oiled sheet pan where they can sit and rest, because now that we've worked that gluten just a little bit, we want to make sure we give this a good half hour or so for the gluten to relax once again, so we can stretch this out into our pizza dough. All right, so I'm just going to hit this with a little duck fat, keep it from sticking. Space our dough balls out evenly so they have some room to spread. And then we'll cover those with plastic wrap so that we don't form any sort of a film on the surface of the dough. We don't want that to dry out. So now into the fridge for 30 minutes. Now while we let that pizza dough rest, I'm gonna go ahead and prepare our barbecue chicken. We're starting off with chicken thighs. You're gonna want about 4 to 6 of them depending how big they are. I'm not really gonna do any trimming to our thighs today. These thighs have a really nice amount of fat content in the skin and in the meat really, especially compared to the breast, which is why we're gonna use them today so that they don't dry out. We want a nice juicy chicken to go on the pizza because it is gonna be cooked twice. Not gonna do anything real fancy. We're just gonna hit it with a little bit of binder. Again, we've got that duck fat that's really easy to use. And then we're gonna hit it with our barbecue rub. And this is the Plowboy's Yardbird. Kind of a go-to barbecue flavor profile. So we hit all of the meat, cover it with the skin, and then whether or not you want to use the skin in the end is up to you, but we'll go ahead and season it for now. So again, we're just going to work through all of these thighs, get our barbecue seasoning on there. And the great thing is presentation is not super important when it comes to these thighs, right? Because we're going to be shredding this up to put it on the pizza in the end. And then we're also going to be cooking up some black pepper bacon to go on our pizza as well. All right, today we're gonna be cooking on the Yoder Smokers YS640S pellet grill. We got it running at 425, set up for indirect cooking. We're gonna start off on the second shelf with our chicken thighs and our bacon. We can get a probe in there to kind of monitor where the chicken thighs are at. We're gonna take those to about 170 before we pull them, and then we'll get started on building the pizzas. So we'll start with our thighs over here by the stack. I'm gonna go largest thighs over here to the side, and we'll get a probe in there on the largest and the smallest thighs so we can get a good feel for where those are at temperature wise. And the bacon we'll just keep an eye on, make sure that we don't overcook that. So we'll go right into the deepest part of our largest thigh, right there, and find the little guy, monitor that as well. So about 30 minutes into the cook here, you can see our chicken thighs are right at that 170 mark we're shooting for. And we've got some really great texture and some great color going on as well. So we are right in that sweet spot. Let's pull these guys off. Next, we're gonna get back to that pizza dough, get it stretched out and on the grill to crisp it up. So this is what it looks like once it's kind of relaxed, it's spread out a bit, get a little bit of flour on our surface here. And we're just gonna kind of press this out. Make a little border here for our crust. That'll also give me something to hold on to. Look how active that is. All of those gas bubbles that are being formed. Now if we can, we're gonna try and keep some of those bubbles intact. Essentially just gonna pinch right around that crust and let the weight do the stretching. And this is just how I like to do it. If you wanna use a rolling pin, that's great, you can go for that. If you wanna toss it up in the air, you can do that as well. I like to get my hands underneath and just evenly stretch. And we're gonna try and stretch this just as thin as possible. Avoid any really thin spots. Keep it even. I'm starting to get to the point where I can kind of see through it in some spots, and that tells me we've gone about as far as we want to go. A relatively even circle for what that's worth. And we've stretched it out to about, what you say that is, about 12 inches, Justin? Let's head back to the grill and prep it up for the dough. All right, second shelf's just kind of gonna be in our way now, so we're gonna take that out. Wanna make sure that the surface of the grates is nice and clean, and that we've got a little bit of grease on it, so we're gonna hit it with the duck fat. And then we're just gently gonna lay this dough directly down on top of the grates. Get it positioned just the way you like it. Careful not to burn yourself. And we can close the door up and let this bake away. So while the pizza dough is cooking, we're gonna prepare a really simple tomato sauce to go on our pizza, starting with a can of San Marzano tomatoes. I'm gonna add to that just a couple teaspoons here of our grunt rub, especially using this for the garlic content. We want some garlic in our pizza sauce today. And just need a little extra salt with the smoked salt here. And then no cooking, no appliances involved, just get your hands in there, break everything up. This will give you a very simple, very tasty, rustic pizza sauce. All right, so in under 5 minutes, we've already got some really nice puffiness going on. You can see we've got some browning on the bottom. I'm not gonna let the other side get too brown because we're actually gonna build our pizza right here, and this will be the bottom as we finish it off. All right, so we're gonna start building our pizza, and I went ahead and threw another crust on so we could go ahead and just load up the grill with a couple of them here. Do a thin layer tomato sauce. Keep in mind as we kind of finish this cookout that the dough is mostly cooked. It's gonna finish getting cooked on this second round and getting some crispiness, but we wanna try not to add too much moisture to the top. So that's why we're not gonna go super heavy on the sauce. I'm also gonna start chunking up our roasted barbecue chicken here. Especially with these monster chicken thighs, you can get about 1 thigh per pie. Next we got some bacon, just kind of tear that, spread it around. Then we're gonna come in with some very thin sliced red onions. Of course, at this point, anything you're adding to your pizza is optional. Try not to super overload it, but whatever you like on here. We've also got some thin sliced Fresno chilies for a little bit of heat. And then I'm gonna come on top here with our cheeses. We have a fresh mozzarella, but one that's fairly low in the moisture content. You don't want something that's just soaking in liquid because it's just gonna pool on top of the pizza here. And then because it's barbecue chicken, a little sharp cheddar should go really well with this as well. We are gonna hit this with some barbecue sauce, but we're gonna do that right at the very end, just kind of as a finishing sauce. Once again, so that doesn't add any extra moisture to the top of the pie. All right, bacon, chicken, thin sliced red onion, Fresno chilies. You can go jalapeno. You can do bell peppers if that's what you like. And then topping it off with our shredded mozzarella. And I like to buy this in the log and then go ahead and shred it myself so it doesn't have that extra powdered coating on the outside. It melts even better this way. Sharp cheddar on top. And then just a finishing touch here. Just gonna hit it with a little bit more of that Yardbird. Give it some nice red color on top. Just a touch of salt. There we go. All right, so we're gonna slide these right back on. I'm gonna set a timer for about 7 or 8 minutes. We'll go ahead and switch these around so that we kind of even out the hot spot from the cool side of the grill. All right, so our cheese is getting a little bit melty here. We're gonna need some more time though. The bottom starting to crust up. I'm gonna switch those around so they can brown evenly. Close the lid back up. Well, 15 minutes in, we've got our cheese melted. We've got a little bubbling going on. Really holding their shape. I'd say these are ready to come off. Immediately off the grill, I'm gonna come in with some Parmesan on top just to kind of melt into finish. And then we're gonna hit it with a little bit of sweetness here. Use one of our favorite barbecue sauces, Firebug Mild. Right across the top. All right, let's crack into it and see how we did. You can hear we've got a really great crunch on the crust. Look at that. That holds up really nice. Still super tender right there in the middle. Ooh. I love the difference in textures there. I mean, it is really crispy on the bottom. Look at the way it holds its shape, but super tender on the top. I think it was a good thing that we didn't overdo the bottom when we initially cooked the dough. As far as flavors go, it's smoky. I mean, it tastes like barbecue. Got a little bit of sweet, a little bit of tang, and then that heat from that pepper, super nice. Well, that does it for our barbecue chicken grilled pizza. Hope you guys enjoyed the recipe. Be sure to check out allthingsbbq.com for all of the products featured in today's recipe. If you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to allthingsbbq.com/thesauce. All Things Barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.